Hello, and welcome to Part 4 of Little Women, an audio play presented by Far From the Tree Productions. I'm Carrie Norris, and I play Marmee. Little Women was originally written in 1868 and 1869 on the stolen land of the Algonquin Nation, specifically the Nipmuc tribe in Musketaquid, known today as Concord, Massachusetts. This play was created and recorded on colonized lands spanning the globe. These lands include the unceded traditional territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam First Nations, whose land is now called Vancouver, British Columbia. The Blackfoot peoples, including the Siksika, Kainai, and Paekani First Nations, whose land is now called Calgary, Alberta. The Darug, Karinga, and Darawal peoples, whose land is now called New South Wales, Australia. We would like to thank all the incredible artists whose generous and dedicated work made this production possible. We hope you enjoy the show. The 3 years that passed brought but few changes to our quiet family. The war was over, and Mr. March safely at home. Laurie went off to college and was a universal favorite and only got into scrapes by trying to get others out of them. Mr. Brooke accepted a place as a bookkeeper and began to save for his future family with Meg. Meg had spent her time working as well and growing in character. Jo never went back to Aunt March's, and Aunt March instead took a fancy to Amy, bribing her with drawing lessons. On the other hand, Jo devoted herself to literature and Beth. And although Beth remained delicate long after the fever had left, she was always happy, hopeful, and serene. These 3 years passed quicker than I could have ever expected. And before I was ready, my girls were grown enough to begin lives of their own.
Now, Teddy, I want to talk to you seriously about tomorrow. You must promise to behave well.
When do I not?
And don't say any funny things when we ought to be serious.
I never do. You are the one for that.
And I implore you not to look at me during the ceremony. I shall certainly laugh if you do.
You'll be crying so hard that you won't even see me.
I never cry unless for some great affliction.
Like when boys go off to college?
I only did a little to keep the girls company.
Exactly. How was Grandpa this week? Pretty amiable?
Very. Why?
I only need some money.
You spend a great deal, Teddy.
I don't spend it. It spends itself somehow.
I don't see the use of having 17 waistcoats, endless neckties, and a new hat every time you come home.
By the way, I think that little Parker has his eye on Amy.
Oh.
Well, he talks of her constantly, writes poetry and everything.
No, we don't want any more marrying into this family for years to come.
Well, it's a fast stage. You'll go next, Jo.
I'm not the agreeable sort. No one will want me.
You won't give anyone a chance.
I'm too busy to be worried with such nonsense. It's bad enough that tomorrow Meg will be taken away from me forever.
The June roses over the porch were awake bright and early the next morning as the family came and went excitedly making preparations.
I don't want to look strange or fixed up today. I wish to look and be my familiar self.
Meg, I brought the most beautiful flowers for your hair.
Oh, Amy.
Mother always said flowers were the most beautiful adornment.
I can't wait till I am married.
Why? It is a horrible tradition where you are forced to be a servant to a man for the rest of your life.
The wedding was a simple affair.
I'm going to tie John's cravat for him.
But Meg, you can't see him before.
Oh, I don't care about any of that today.
But my Meg had never looked so beautiful.
Jupiter! I'm afraid Jo has upset the cake again.
Laurie, don't tease! Here, help me fix this.
Upon my word, here is a state of things.
Aunt March is here.
Shh, it's starting.
Do you, John Brooke?
Look at me.
I will.
Stop looking at me like that. Happier.
Do you, Meg March?
I will.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
And after lunch, everyone danced merrily around the couple until it was time to say goodbye.
Actually dancing.
It's really wonderful. Meg, you're a married woman now.
Beautiful.
Mr. Brooke,
Congratulations.
lovely today.
Lori.
Look at them. We will miss you
nice
so.
wedding.
I do hope you have a wonderful time, but come soon. Come back soon.
We all stood
love you.
watching, filled with love and tender pride, as Meg walked away and began her married life. Joe, dear, you got something in the mail.
I did? Where?
Here it is. What's got you in such an excited state?
Joe, can you please not scream in the house?
I won! I can't believe I won!
What did you win?
They're publishing my story! 6 weeks ago, I found an advertisement in the paper for a contest looking for a sensational story. And I read some of the ones in the paper, and I thought, I can write much better than that. So I sent in one of mine, not really expecting to hear anything, but look, I've won $100 and my story is going to be published.
Wow.
Joe, I'm so proud of you.
This is wonderful.
Perhaps they will want to publish more of my stories.
Of course.
Joe March, our very own authoress. Oh.
What is it?
Mr. Allen says I must leave out the explanations, make it brief and dramatic, and let the characters tell the story.
I wouldn't leave a word out. You'll spoil it if you do.
But he knows what will sell, and we don't.
I suppose so.
What are you going to do with all that money?
I should like to take Beth to the seaside.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
Oh, Beth, of course you can.
No, it would be too selfish.
Oh, but you shall go. You will go and come home all rosy again. I have my heart set on it.
Joe did find early success in her work. The Duke's daughter paid the butcher's bill. A phantom hand put down a new carpet, and the curse of the Coventrys proved a blessing to the Marches in the way of groceries and gowns. Joe enjoyed the satisfaction of being able to supply her own wants and not ask anyone for a penny.
Mother!
Hey,
What is it, dear?
I've just come from Aunt March's. She's going abroad next month and wants me
to go with her? Oh, I knew she enjoyed all my reading.
No, not you. She wants me to come.
What?
She's noticed how good my French has gotten.
Mother, Amy can't go. She's much too young. It's my turn first. I've wanted to go for so long.
But Aunt March says you hate French, and I've been working so hard.
I'm sorry, dear, but she did ask Amy. It is not for us to dictate when she offers such a favor.
Oh, Amy always has all the fun, and I have to do all of the work. This isn't fair.
I should like you to stay with me anyways, Joe.
I thought you'd be happy for me, Joe. And this isn't a mere pleasure trip for me. It will decide my career. For if I have any genius, I will discover it in Rome.
Suppose you haven't any.
Joe.
Then I shall come home and teach drawing.
No, you won't. You hate hard work. You'll marry some rich man and sit in the lap of luxury all your days.
Joe.
I don't believe that. If I can't be an artist myself, I should like to be able to help those who are.
Oh, Joe, come back.
Just give her...
I know. Give her time.
Laurie, you have turned into such a flirt after going to college. It seems like you were in love with a new girl every week.
I have not.
Really? How many bouquets have you sent to Miss Randall this week?
Not one.
I'm glad of it. That is one of your foolish extravagances. Sending flowers and things to girls for whom you don't care two pins.
Sensible girls for whom I do care won't let me send them flowers and things, so what am I to do?
A mother doesn't approve of flirting, even in fun. I've never been able to figure out how it's done.
Take lessons from Amy. She has a regular talent for it.
Oh, yes, she does. And she never seems to go too far.
I'm glad you can't flirt. Between ourselves, Joe, some of the girls I know really go on at such a rate I'm ashamed of them.
Well, if you behaved properly, they would. But knowing you like their nonsense, they keep it up, and then you blame them.
Ah, but the pretty modest girls are never talked about except respectfully among
If you
gentlemen.
must flirt, Teddy, go and devote yourself to one of those pretty modest girls whom you do respect, and don't waste your time with the silly ones.
You really advise it?
Yes, I do. But you are not yet half good enough for whoever the modest girl may be.
That I'm not.
Now go and sing for me. I'm dying for some music, and always liked yours.
I'd rather stay here, thank you.
I thought you hated to be tied to a woman's apron string.
Well, that depends on who wears the apron.
Beth? What is it, dear?
I thought you were asleep.
Is it the old pain?
No, it's a new one, but I can bear it.
Tell me about it, and let me cure it.
You can't. There is no cure.
I think I understand. Shall I call Mother?
No, don't tell her. I shall be better soon. Joe, will you lie with me?
Yes. Beth, does anything trouble you?
Yes.
Wouldn't it comfort you to tell me what it is?
Not now. Not yet.
Okay. Go to sleep now. I will stay with you. Mother,
Yes, dear.
I want to go away this winter.
Why, Joe?
I want something new. I feel restless and anxious, and I need stirring up. Meg is married and busy with her husband. Amy is in Europe, and I don't want to be stuck.
Where will you go?
To New York. You know Mrs. Kirk wrote to you for some respectable young person to teach her children and sew. I think I should suit it if I tried.
But you're writing.
All the better for the change. I shall see and hear new things and get new ideas.
I've no doubt of it. But are these your only reasons for this sudden change?
No. I'm afraid Laurie is getting too fond of me.
And you don't care for him the way he cares for you?
No! I love him dearly, as I always have, and am immensely proud of him, but as for anything more, it's out of the question.
I'm glad of that.
Why?
I don't think you're suited to one another. You're too much alike and too fond of your freedom to get on happily together.
Yes!
You're sure of his feelings for you?
I'm afraid so, Mother. He hasn't said anything, but he looks at me differently. I think I had better go away before it comes to anything.
Then if it can be managed, you will go. We said nothing until all the plans were made. When Joe told Laurie, he took it very quietly. Beth cheerfully kissed her sister goodbye, though her usually rosy face was a shade paler than normal. That winter, Meg, Joe, and Amy were off on their own, leaving the house strangely empty, and all I could do was pore over the letters that flew across the seas.
Dear Meg, I've just arrived in New York. I promise to write you a regular volume, for I've got heaps to tell, though I'm not a fine young lady traveling on the continent. Mrs. Kirk welcomed me so kindly I felt at home at once, even in a big house full of strangers.
Oh, you must be Joe March.
Yes, ma'am.
We are so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I never expected that when I told your mother I was in need of a young lady that one of her own daughters would be interested.
Well, I've always wanted to see more of the world.
Of course. Well, why don't I show you where you'll be staying and let you get settled? Now, of course, you are here to teach the children, as well as any mending that needs doing. I'm on the drive from morning till night, but a great anxiety will be off my mind if I know the children are safe with you. My rooms are always open to you, and your own shall be as comfortable as I can make it. We have some other pleasant people who board with us if you feel sociable, and your evenings are always free. Here we are. The room is small, but it's all I have.
No, this will do me just fine.
Your mother told me you're a writer, so I thought this table by the window may be a good place for you to work if you wish. And there's a lovely view of the church just there.
Thank you. This is perfect. Who is that?
Oh, that was Professor Bear, I imagine. He's always running around with the children when he can. He's from Berlin, and a very learned and good man, but he is incredibly poor. He gives the children's lessons here to support himself. Oh, that is the tea bell. I must leave you now, Miss March.
Oh, excuse me, miss. I didn't know anyone was here.
No, it's my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, not at all. I don't believe I've seen you before.
No, I just arrived. I'm Miss March. Or Josephine. I mean Joe. Everyone calls me Joe.
Ah, the new governess. If these naughty ones go to vex you, call me and I come. I am Mr. Bear. You go down to dinner?
Yes.
I will join.
Since first arriving, Professor Bear and I have become good friends. He has the kindest eyes I have ever seen and is a very good teacher. When I'm not writing in the evening, we talk of literature and philosophy. Most of the time, I don't understand the concepts he speaks of, but he is patient as I learn. It strikes me that this letter is rather Bear-y, but I'm always interested
in odd people. While I am in New York, I hope to find a newspaper who might publish my stories, as I've finished one that I am very fond of. Please give my love to Marmee and Beth, though I've already written to them as well. And please forward Amy's letters when you get a chance. Your faithful, Joe.
Meg, I do wish you would let me give you one of my old silks.
That is really not necessary, Sally.
Oh, but I have one that would look so beautiful on you, and I hardly wear it at all.
I don't often have a reason to wear such a dress.
Well, I insist on buying you something today then.
Thank you, but I can afford to purchase my own things.
But I didn't think that John made all that much.
He makes enough.
Would you look at this fabric? Oh, isn't that elegant?
Yes, we just got this in. The color is the latest fashion.
It's beautiful.
Meg, this would look darling on you.
No, I really shouldn't. John needs a new winter coat, and it's far too expensive to wear a dress made of this around the house.
When he sees how beautiful you are in it, he will not think of the cost.
It is lovely.
And a bargain, I assure you, ma'am.
Oh, I'll take it.
And how many yards will you be needing?
Oh, goodness. 25.
That will be $50.
Very good price.
Dearest Amy, it's always wonderful to hear of the places you are traveling to, and I am glad to know that Aunt March hasn't been too hard on you. I must confess, though, that being a wife is very different than I could have imagined. John works so hard, but money is scarce, and I still desire to have beautiful things like Sally Moffat. John went over our expenses today, and I could tell he was angry with me, though he tries not to show it.
I don't know that $50 is much for a dress. With all the furbelows and notions, you have to finish it off these days.
It isn't made or trimmed. It is just the fabric.
Oh. 25 yards of silk seems a good deal to cover one small woman. But I've no doubt my wife will look as fine as Ned Moffat's when she is in it.
I know you're angry, John, but I can't help it. I don't mean to waste your money, but I can't resist when I see Sally buying all she wants and pitying me because I don't. I try to be contented, but it's hard, and I'm tired of being poor.
I do my best, Meg.
Oh, John. I didn't mean it. It was wicked and ungrateful.
It's okay.
I am sure we will have enough. We can get you a new coat tomorrow.
I'm sorry. I can't afford it.
After that, I begged Sally to buy the fabric from me. I was humiliated, but she did. And I was able to buy John a new overcoat. I couldn't bear letting down someone I love so dearly.
And we must begin to save because our family will be growing soon, as John and I are expecting a child!
What are you yelling about, child?
Aunt March! I just received a letter from Meg. She's pregnant!
With that tutor's offspring?
Yes, of course, Aunt March. Aren't you happy for her?
I would have chosen a better match for her. But I suppose that man loves her, and will love her children.
He does?
And what of you, Amy? What have you chosen for your future?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
There is often a young man who comes to visit you.
Fred Vaughn? He is Laurie's friend from school.
Yes, Mr. Vaughn. He comes from a good family. You would be taken care of all of your days. Your family would be taken care of.
He is a very nice man.
You would do well to accept him. Now, return to your letter. We leave for Paris in the morning.
Aunt March and I have arrived in Paris, and it is one of the most splendid places I have been. I spend most of the time at the Louvre looking at the magnificent paintings, completely captivated by the genius of these artists. He makes me wonder if I have any genius in me. Do you remember Fred Vaughn?
Laurie's English friend. I was so surprised. I saw him at tea one afternoon, and we spent much of our time in England together. He will be joining us when we travel to Rome as well. Aunt March thinks he may propose, and I've made up my mind, and if Fred asks, I shall accept him. We get on comfortably together. He is handsome, clever, and very rich. I know you will object to this, but please try and be as happy for me as I am for you. I wish to hear all about your time in New York. Please love and trust me, Amy. Excuse me. I was looking for the Daily Volcano office. I'm looking for Mr. Dashwood.
Down the hall on the right.
Thank you. Excuse me. Are you Mr. Dashwood?
Yes.
A friend of mine desired me to offer a story, just as an experiment. She would like your opinion and, be glad to write more if this suits.
Not a first attempt, I take it?
No, sir. She has some experience. And got a prize for a tale in the Blarney Stone Banner.
Oh, did she? We'll take this. If your friend doesn't object to a few alterations. It's too long, but omitting the passages I've marked will make it the right length.
But, sir, you've cut the moral of the story. She worked hard on those sections.
People want to be amused, not preached at. Morals don't sell nowadays.
You think it would do with these alterations, then?
Yes, it's a new plot and pretty well worked. Language good and so on.
And what do you, that is, what compensation...
We give from 25 to 30 for things of this sort. Pay when it comes out.
Very well. You can have it. Shall I tell my friend you will take another if she has one better than this?
Well, we'll look at it. Can't promise to take it. Tell her to make it short and spicy, and never mind the moral. What name would your friend like to put?
None at all, if you please. She doesn't wish her name to appear.
Just as she likes, of course. The tale will be out next week. Will you call for the money, or shall I send it?
I'll call. Good morning, sir. Marmee, I can't believe that soon I will have a little niece or nephew. I promised Meg that I will not be as stern as Aunt March and will let them grow up to be whomever they want. I've sold my story to the newspaper, and the editor told me they would take more if I have them. It seems that my writing career is not over. I've also started taking German lessons from Mr. Bear. It all came about when Mrs. Kirk called me in one day as I passed Mr. Bear's room.
Joe, is that you, dear?
Yes, Mrs. Kirk.
Will you come in here for a moment?
Isn't this Mr. Bear's room?
Did you ever see such a den, my dear? Just come and help me put these books right, for I've turned everything upside down trying to discover what he's done with the 6 new handkerchiefs I gave him not long ago.
Sure.
Such a man. It's dreadful. But I can't scold him. He's so good-natured, and he lets those boys tire him out. I agree to do his washing and mending, but he forgets to give.
Let me mend them.
Oh, that's not necessary, child.
Well, I don't mind it. And he didn't know. I'd like to. But he's so kind to me about lending books.
What? If you're sure. I don't see the harm in that.
I'd hoped he wouldn't find out, but one week he caught me. I'd been sitting near his door finishing off the last sock when...
So,
Professor!
you listen to my lessons.
No, yes. You're a good teacher.
You have a wish for German.
Yes. But you're too busy, and I don't think I could learn.
We will make the time, and we will not fail to find the sense, for I have this debt to pay.
Debt?
I have an eye, and I see much. I know my buttons not grow more when they fall. My sock heels go not in holes any more. I feel thanks for this. So, a little lesson then and now, and no more fairy work.
All right. At New Year's, Mr. Bear gave me a collection of Shakespeare's work. I had said I wanted a library, and he said this was a library between two covers, that I should study it well, for study of character in this book will help you read it in the world and paint it with your pen. I'm glad Laurie is happy and busy. Tell him I will be home soon to hear of his college adventures.
Thank you for listening to Part 4 of Little Women. Tune in next Saturday for Part 5. For more information about Far From the Tree Productions, or to leave a donation, you can visit our website at www.farfromthetreeproductions.com. Subscribe to our newsletter for updates on future projects, or you can follow us on Instagram at Far From the Tree Productions. Until next time.